Good morning, students. Today we will do this experiment. Write the heading of the experiment: determination of dissolved oxygen. DO stands for dissolved oxygen present in water by Winkler's method. Determination of dissolved oxygen present in water by Winkler's method. This is also one application of iodometric process. So let us do in details. Hope you know the term dissolved oxygen. Dissolved oxygen actually means the amount of molecular oxygen present in water. Obviously that oxygen must be dissolved or escaped in the cavity of the water. Particularly dissolved oxygen is the only source of oxygen for aquatic plants and animals. We are taking oxygen from aerial source of oxygen, and also we are taking some amount of oxygen from our body fluid. That means the water we are taking as drinking purpose, that water need to contain some amount of oxygen in the form of dissolved oxygen. So dissolved oxygen is the only source of oxygen for aquatic plants and animals, but also we need an adequate amount of dissolved oxygen in our drinking water. Obviously, there will be a fixed range. For domestic water, dissolved oxygen range from 3 to 7 ppm. For drinking water, it will be in range between 4 to 5 ppm. And for aquatic plants and animals, the range is actually in between 8 to 15 ppm parts per million. So for domestic range of DO is 3 to 7 ppm, and for aquatic plants and animals for any water source it is almost 8 to 15 ppm. For drinking purpose it will range from 4 to 5. Okay. Now we will estimate that how much amount of dissolved oxygen actually present in a particular amount of water. Let us say you have taken any wastewater. That wastewater may contain very less amount of dissolved oxygen. Once you are taking a fresh water from any fresh water resource, it may contain dissolved oxygen ranging between 8 to 15 ppm. Okay. So particularly if the DO level drops, then also aquatic plants and animals threatened, and if DO level increase up to DO level cross its higher limit, then also it will create some problem between aquatic plants and animals. Once it will drop, that means that particular water source is not sufficient to supply enough oxygen to the aquatic plants and animals. And if it increased its highest limit, it crossed its highest limit, that means there will be a cause of overnutrition, which will cause eutrophication. So particularly amount of DO is very crucial point for any aquatic source for aquatic plants and animals. Okay. Now let us do the estimation of DO. DO estimation is a very critical process. For this, first of all, we need to use this chemical. This is sodium thiosulfate. And you know that we estimate DO with the help of iodometry. That means in iodometric experiment, sodium thiosulfate is secondary standard. So what is our first task? Our first task will be to standardize sodium thiosulfate with the help of potassium dichromate. And hopefully I have already discussed this fact that sodium thiosulfate and potassium dichromate never react directly. We need to incorporate some mediator substance as Ki. Ki react with potassium dichromate for the formation of iodine, and that iodine will be absorbed by sodium thiosulfate. I have already discussed in this part in analysis of copper or in the titration of potassium dichromate versus sodium thiosulfate. So sodium thiosulfate versus potassium dichromate is actually a titration which based on iodometry. Here we will add Ki as a source of iodine. Ki react with potassium dichromate in acid medium. It will generate iodine. That iodine must be absorbed by sodium thiosulfate. In the process, what we will do specifically, we will take sodium thiosulfate in butane. Fine. So we have taken sodium thiosulfate in butane, and we have taken 10 ml of potassium dichromate in conical flask. Let us add 5 ml of concentrated HCl and let us add 10 ml of potassium iodide, which is the only source of iodine. Now in presence of HCl, potassium iodide react with potassium dichromate for the formation of iodine. This iodine is of dark brown color. And particularly I have already told you that iodine is very photosensitive. It can be degraded in presence of sunlight. So we need to do this total experiment in dark condition. So we have added these components, iodine generated, your solution color is dark brown, then keep this conical in dark at least for 2 minutes so that the reaction being completed. Fine. Now taking out from dark, let us add some amount of water to dissolve all the iodine absorbed in the inner part of the glass container. Now your solution contain I2. Now let us add sodium thiosulfate from buvette. Sodium thiosulfate will absorb iodine. Sodium thiosulfate will absorb iodine for the formation of NaI and sodium tetrathioate, Na2S4O6. It will absorb iodine for the formation of this complex. Now once it is absorbed iodine, we need to add some indicator. I have already told you that starch indicator is a special indicator. We can't add starch at the initial stage of the reaction, but we will add starch after an adequate amount of sodium thiosulfate addition. Pause karo. We will add some amount of sodium thiosulfate from buvette to initiate the reaction. Once iodine color is being lightened or the solution color is straw yellow, then only add starch as indicator. Your solution color will be blue after addition of starch. You continue addition of sodium thiosulfate. Once it will be colorless, then stop addition. Then we will simply calculate by applying V1H1 V2H2 the concentration of sodium thiosulfate. As potassium dichromate is primary standard, strength of potassium dichromate is N/10, which is supplied, and after completion of this reaction we will have a buvette reading, that means volume of sodium thiosulfate required for the completion of this titration. From that you just calculate V1H1 V2H2 to get the concentration of sodium thiosulfate. So this was our primary task, to calculate the concentration of sodium thiosulfate by iodometry. Fine. Now we will do our main task, that means determination of DO. For this we need one front end that is known as DO bottle. Look at this container. This is DO bottle. Here its capacity of 300 ml. It is not calibrated. It may contain 320, 310. We will measure that. Once you release this cap, then there will be no air connection from outside or from inside. Okay. So this is known as DO bottle, a special type of bottle. One, you fill water up to this portion, you release the cap, the total container is aerially locked. No connection of air from outside or no connection of air from inside. Okay. Now what we will do, we will take full amount of water in this container, full amount of water. And as estimation of DO is a very critical process, so we need to add a series of oxidizing agent to absorb that DO in the form of some measurable part. Look at the process. So initially we have taken full amount of water. It may be tap water, it may be water from any different source. So first we have taken 300 ml almost. It is not measured properly, but almost 300 ml water in that DO bottle. Initially we have taken 300 ml water, and let us assume that that water contains some amount of dissolved oxygen. We don't know the amount, we will calculate. We pre-assume that water contains some amount of dissolved oxygen. Now what we will do, we will add a series of chemicals to estimate the how. Initially we have taken manganese sulfate and potassium hydroxide, which will react with each other for the formation of K2SO4 and manganese hydroxide. K2SO4 and manganese hydroxide. Next step, this manganese hydroxide is reacted with acid medium, that means H2SO4, for the formation of ozone. Manganese hydroxide will react with oxygen. Oxygen means this oxygen, dissolved oxygen, for the formation of basic manganese oxide, MnOOH O2. That basic manganese oxide will react with H2SO4 for the formation of MnSO4 again plus nascent oxygen and H2O. That nascent oxygen will react with Ki for the formation of iodine, and that iodine will be absorbed by sodium thiosulfate. Once we have added sodium thiosulfate from burette, that iodine will be absorbed by sodium thiosulfate. Now look at this reaction. Manganese sulfate react with KOH. We have added KOH and converted into K2SO4 manganese hydroxide. Manganese hydroxide again react with dissolved oxygen present in water. Will be converted into basic manganese hydroxide. That basic manganese hydroxide react with acidic medium H2SO4 for the formation of manganese sulfate, nascent oxygen and H2, and that nascent oxygen will react with Ki for the formation of iodine. That iodine will be absorbed by sodium thiosulfate. So now, one equivalent of oxygen is actually producing one equivalent of iodine. We can say that, and one equivalent of iodine will be absorbed by one equivalent of sodium thiosulfate. We can say that one equivalent of oxygen equivalent to one equivalent of sodium thiosulfate. After completion of reaction, after completion of this titration process, we will go through the titration process. After completion of titration process, we have a volume reading of sodium thiosulfate. That volume reading is the responsible for the absorption of iodine produced by this reaction. Okay, so let us do the experiment initially. First we will fill the burette by sodium thiosulfate. And volume become up to 0. We have taken one conical potassium dichromate. So initially we are doing standardization of sodium thiosulfate with the help of potassium dichromate. Potassium dichromate concentration is given, that is n by 10. We have taken 10 ml potassium dichromate. Now according to this process we need to add 5 ml of concentrated HCl. Initially we will add 5 ml of concentrated HCl. Let us add 5 ml of concentrated HCl. And 10 ml of potassium iodide, which is the only source of iodine. 10 ml of potassium iodide. Iodine start evolving. Let us keep this container in dark for 2 minutes. So let us keep this container in dark for 2 minutes. In between we will write the table. This will be the table. At first there will be the number of observations, then volume of potassium dichromate, then strength of K2Cr2O7, and then burette reading. We will take only a single reading, that means initial, final and difference. We have taken only a single reading, 10 ml, n by 10, and now after titration we will put the value. We have started with 0. After this we will plot V1 S1, V2 S2, V1 is 10, S1 is n by 10. V2 we will write after process and we will calculate S2. So let us write the process. Let us do the process. So after 2 minutes we will add some amount of water to wash all iodine. From the inner part of the glass container. Okay. Now let us start the process. And before starting the process, let us make the starch ready. This is freshly prepared starch. Now let us start the process. Iodine color slowly fading up. Oh, the solution is a little bit brown still. Does have dropwise. We will wait for the straw yellow color. Now it is straw yellow. Look at the color. It has had starch. Solution color turns blue and continue addition. Hope it is done now. There is no blue color, only a trace of green color, that is due to presence of chromium, and our reading is 13.1. So final reading is 13.1, difference is 13.1, here also put 13.1, S2 will be N by 13.1. So this is the concentration of sodium thiosulfate. Now we will do our next task. what we will do, this is very important, look here. We will fill this container, with water, fully filled up, and we will release this cap, excess water removed. Okay, now so this is 300 ml of tap water we have taken initially. Let us wash this one. What is the maximum limit of DO? It is only 5 to 7 for 3 to 5 for domestic water, 3 to 7, sorry. Now we will add a series of chemical here. First we will add 2 ml of manganese sulfate. First we will add 2 ml of manganese sulfate. First we will add 2 ml of manganese sulfate. Was this in the same solution we add 1 ml of iodine azide solution. This is iodine azide, which is the main source of iodine here. Reaction already started. Now we will rinse it slowly like this. So we have added manganese sulfate, KOH iodine mixture for the formation of this, and now we will add H2SO4 for the formation of nascent oxygen. That nascent oxygen will react with Ki for the formation of iodine. So we will add concentrated H2SO4. Let us add a little amount of H2SO4. Look at that. Normally, for offline classes, all students will make a video of this experiment. It was so colorful experiment in this. the PPT. Look. Okay, total iodine generated. Now we will transfer this solution into a 300 ml of 500 ml of conical. Done. We will add starch. Initially we have added starch because solution contain a very trace amount of iodine. Look at the color, it is already dark blue. Now our reading is exactly 13.8. So we are starting from 13.8. Hope it is done. Final reading is 15. Final reading is 15. So our table, second table will be like this. Number of observations. We have taken only one observations. Volume of water, we will measure that how much amount of water we have taken, and here it is strength of sodium thiosulfate that was measured in previous table, that is N by 13.1, and here it is Biuret reading. As we have taken only one reading, so don't write average. Initial, final and difference. We have started from 13.8, our reading is 15. So difference will be 1.2 only. Okay. Now we will calculate volume of water. How much volume of water actually in this beaker? We will calculate that in measuring scale. Here is measuring scale. Look. This is 100 ml measuring cylinder. We are measuring 100, 200, 300, 327. Total volume of water 327 minus 1.2. We have added 1.2 sodium thiosulfate. That means almost 326. So what is the total of volume of water taken? 326. Now we will do the calculation. How we will calculate? We have already told you that sodium thiosulfate will be equivalent to oxygen, will be equivalent to iodine. Okay, sodium thiosulfate will be equivalent to iodine, will be equivalent to oxygen. That means sodium thiosulfate equivalent to oxygen. So 1000 ml, 1 normal sodium thiosulfate equivalent to 8 grams of oxygen. Okay. This is the atomic number of oxygen. Okay, 1.2 ml N by 13.1 thiosulfate equivalents to 8 divided by 1000 into 1.2 into N by 13.1. Now we will calculate this. This will be a calculation. 8 multiplied with 1.2, 8 multiplied with 1.2 equals to 9.6 divided by 13.1 divided by 1000. It is actually 0.00073 gram. Let us convert into milligram. It will be 0.073 mg. Okay, now what is the volume of water? 326 ml H2O contain DO equals to 0.73 mg. So 10 to the power 3 ml H2O contain DO equals to 0.73 divided by 3 to 6 multiplied with 1000. So it is 0.73 into 1000 divided by 3 to 6. You get 2.23 mg. So we can write DO of tap water is equals to 2.23 mg per liter or 2.23 ppm. Done.